I did not get that from the white guy with cornrows.
Hello, De Niro Nation, and welcome to Our Hero De Niro. I'm Mike, joined as ever by my co-host Mike.
No relation.
And today we are here to discuss the 2010 John Curran film, Stone, starring Robert De Niro. Mike, I love this question, by the way, because I don't remember what the answer is, but we obviously said it when we rolled the episode last week, but I do not remember. Had you ever heard of this movie before we rolled it for the podcast?
Of course not. No, this is a pretty small budget film from 2010, so no.
Yeah. And amazingly, in spite of its small budget, a real flop at the box office. I too had never heard of this film. So here's some stuff about it. It's a 2010 American crime thriller. It was directed, as I said, by John Curran. I think most notably of Chappaquiddick fame, the film from 2017 about the Chappaquiddick. I think it's not conspiracy, just controversy, I guess, right from the 60s, I think.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about it. I've never seen the film.
Well, have I got the movie for you?
And written by a gentleman by the name of Angus MacLachlan, with 5 writing credits to his name. It was a box office bomb, as I said, with a budget of $22 million, only grossing $10.3 million at the box office, and was a real critical bomb as well. It has a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got some good performances for sure, but I don't know what else there is to really say about it. You want to just get right into it? Talk about the plot, etc.
Yeah. Do you not want to mention anything about the director? Nothing notable for us in this Rochester, New York based podcast.
Oh shit! Now would be the time to say it, wouldn't it? I was going to save it for later, but why not just tee it up right now? And very interestingly enough, I was reading about this director on Wikipedia earlier today and noticed that he lives in Pittsford, New York, which is, I think, about a mile from the school where Mike is going to grad school and maybe 5 or 6 miles from my house. So right down the street. And, John, if you're listening, we would love to have you on the pod.
If you're listening, we'd love to have you on the pod, and we apologize in advance for the conversation we're about to have.
It's not about him, honestly. And I was thinking about this earlier. I think that there's plenty of competence on display from a directorial perspective here. I really think the issue for me is the script. I don't know. I was reflecting on my way home from work today, just what it was about this that really didn't land well for me. Let's not get into it in too much detail, given that we're about to talk about the film. You love getting into it. But, yeah. So there you go. So that's our information about Stone, and we're so excited to be here with all of you this week. Let's just get right into it.
Oh, you know what? Here's one thing for you at the top. This is notable. This is the first time I've ever done this. I finally committed to not taking notes during watching one of these films that you're recapping. Here's the thing.
That's interesting.
I've been on a real 90s hip hop kick the last few days. I've really been enjoying it. I love 90s hip hop.
It is nice.
It's a lot. I guess for your frame of reference, it's a lot like Hamilton, but instead of the songs being about the 1790s, they're about life in the 1990s.
Interesting.
So last night, I'm sitting at my computer desk, I'm jamming, I'm grooving with the nice computer speakers, listening to some 90s hip hop while I'm doing some work. And I had this film looming over my head, and I resented the fact that I had to watch it. So it was very begrudgingly that I turned it on, and I just told myself, I saw the poster of Edward Norton with cornrows, and I just thought this is not one where I'm going to need to take notes. And I stuck to it. The only note I took was the time for the De Niro face reveal. So just know that as we get into our discussion.
Listen, I think it's great. How do you think you're going to do without having taken notes? I don't want you to know that I took a tremendous number of notes for this movie. I think I have 25 to 30, 3 to 6 sentence paragraphs written on this one.
I think that's great. I have some deeply held feelings about the film, and I think my comments will emanate outward from those.
Oh, yeah. Same. Well, listen, hey, if you got anything to jump in and add, please feel free. But otherwise, I'm hoping this can be a real light, real breezy kind of recap, because at the end of the day, very, very few things really happen in this film. I took down all the notes, and then I went back and reread them earlier today. And I was like, this is really a lot of detail I wrote here about a film whose plot can essentially be summarized in a tight 15 to 25 sentences.
I'm inclined to agree. Let's get into it.
So we got a great jump comedy shot here right at the beginning of the film. So it opens up with what we can understand relatively quickly based on the context of the scene is a flashback to a young version of Robert De Niro's character sitting in a farmhouse watching golf on an old timey television set. Presumably this took place the scene maybe took place in the 60s or 70s based on the look of the television set. And I say that we can tell that it's a flashback scene because there is a young actor playing Robert De Niro, essentially. And I have no idea what this guy's name is. Do you know what this guy's name is? I should have looked it up before we said it.
I cannot pronounce his name. It's Enver Gjokaj.
Gjokaj, maybe? Yep. I see him here on the page. He's only got 11 film credits to his name, including this one. I've seen 2 of them, this and the original Avengers. So there you go. He doesn't really even look like Robert De Niro, which is why I laughed when I saw it. The only reason you can tell that they're trying to have him play that is because they've painted Robert De Niro's iconic mole onto his cheek in the same place where De Niro's is.
It literally took me an extra scene to put that together because I've seen young De Niro from that era so much recently.
Looks nothing like him.
He just looks like a guy with a square jaw and a
He's
very
just a good-looking
comically dark mole.
Yes. Yeah. That's it's I guess Robert De Niro was also good looking when he was young like that. So they have that in common, but otherwise they really share no physical characteristics or really even vibes. It's a very interesting choice. So he's sitting there, he's watching golf, and his wife walks upstairs with their daughter to put her down to sleep. And while she's upstairs, she has this I thought she was going to have a psychotic break or maybe die. I thought maybe she was about to have a heart attack, and I was trying to imagine what the inciting events of this film were going to be. She watches a bee buzzing on a screen, and she has this, the way the scene is edited is oh, this lady's going crazy, something terrible is about to happen. There's ringing in her ears, and the image is getting kind of blurry, and so she gets up and she walks downstairs. And she tells young Robert De Niro that she's going to leave him because she's a prisoner in their marriage or whatever. I can't remember exactly what she says. And he storms upstairs, picks up their daughter and holds her out the window. She's I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years old, holds her out the window and says that if his wife leaves him, he's going to drop her out the window. And so she decides not to leave him. And they hug, and he apologizes to her and says he'll never do that again. And that's our establishing scene. We get there. You got anything you want to say about that bad boy?
Quite the cold open, and it's an interesting setup for the ostensible protagonist of the film.
Yeah, it's a really interesting movie. Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm reflecting on this film
in
now.
Real time.
I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. It really is totally insane. And it'll never, it'll never get better. So let's go on. Let's kind of see how this is going to proceed. So we cut to modern day. We see Robert De Niro, real Robert De Niro, in church with his wife. Do you want to tell us the timestamp when we first see Robert De Niro on screen?
I had it logged at 3 minutes and 58 seconds.
There you go. So they're in church, in case I didn't say that. And it cuts away to him watching golf. And after watching golf, he gets a call from, I guess, his sister-in-law that his brother has died. And so then we go back to the church. And so we understand in a way that's very sloppy that they're at church for the funeral. It cut away to explain why they're at church. And now we're back at church for the funeral. Very weird. Sounds like his brother was a really good guy. Robert De Niro gives a very touching eulogy of him. And I wrote here, it sounds like his brother was a good guy, the kind of guy who never threatened to kill his daughter. That was what I was struck by in the scene. Jack says, he's exactly the kind of guy I always wanted to be like. And I was like, yeah, he sounds great. I bet you he never,
right.
coerced his wife into staying with him by threatening to kill their child. The fucking craziest thing you could possibly do.
The bar is low. Right. Yeah. As the father of a young girl, how many times have you had to rely on that? Jesus Christ.
I turned to Caroline. We watched this film together. I turned to Caroline after that scene and I told her this is one of those classic examples in a film where just somebody does not handle something the way that I would have. I don't know if she did that. Yeah, I'd say whatever I had to say to get her to give the kid back to me, of course. But then I'd fucking kill her. Like if somebody threatened to kill my kid, like I would get my kid back safely and then I would beat them to fucking death.
Right.
Like it's like what is the wife's like reaction to this? It's like because throughout the movie she seems like a relatively normal person. It's like you allowed this man to stay in your home and be around your child. Like what's going on here? It's very bizarre.
When we're reintroduced to these characters later in life, they seem to have a very strong, quiet, supportive, later in life kind of marriage. Yep. So it's interesting that this was the one thing that the storytellers chose to show us from their lives before then.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that because I think you may have misinterpreted what the storytellers were trying to do. I don't think they were particularly successful in doing so you couldn't be blamed for misunderstanding it. But like, I don't think that we're supposed to perceive them as having a strong marriage.
Well, listen,
I think we're supposed to perceive them as having a marriage characterized by repression.
Yeah.
And that's like the original sin. It's shown to us to explain like what they're repressing.
That doesn't come out until later, though. I'm just saying that when we're reintroduced to the characters at this point in their lives. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. So during the opening credits, we get a montage of guards patrolling a prison, and it looks like Jack is a parole officer at this prison. We see him talking to some of the prisoners, and the way that the scene is edited has this very like kind of rote style to it that conveys to us as viewers that he is not feeling good about his role as a parole officer. He's got some disenfranchisement about his job. So we end the montage and the warden, his boss, calls him in and there's another person in the meeting and essentially like plays a prank on him to pretend that he fucked up something to do with one of his cases. And then they're like, I'm just joking. And Jack's like, you got me. And so the other person who's in there is this lady who's going to be his backfill as the parole officer. And so now we're given to understand by the warden that Jack is retiring. And so he's in like, it's not made explicit how long it's going to be, but I got the impression watching this that he was in maybe like the last month of his career as a parole officer, and he's just kind of cleaning out his remaining cases.
Yes, they do mention at some point in the film that he has 1 month left. And I think this is an interesting introduction to him professionally because, they play this prank on him. And it's a joke. It's a joke that he could make a mistake in his job. He's
that good at his job.
Exactly. That's really interesting characterization up top, and I don't necessarily think it's consistent with what he does in the remainder of this film.
No, I don't think so. I think that in the remainder of the film, he is going to be, I think, just about as bad at being a parole officer as a person could be, honestly. Like he's going to behave in ways that are both unethical and unprofessional and bad in like assessing conduct deontological sense, but they will also have very bad outcomes. And so like, this is a movie about a guy doing a really bad job at his job, essentially for an hour and 45 minutes. And so it is like, it's a very funny way to introduce his role at work.
You know how much we like competence porn films like Heat? This is sort of the opposite. This is incompetence porn.
Oh my God. So good. All right. So now we cut to another scene and we're going to meet Edward Norton. And so Edward Norton's name is like, it's like Genghis or something. What's his name? Like
Genghis? Gerald Creason.
His real name? Gerald. That's what it is. Gerald Creason. But he tells Jack that he prefers to be called Stone. And I wrote here, and I believe it, it's nice to see Edward Norton again. And for what it's worth, he's incredible in this role. Like, the performances are not the thing that's bad about this film. I think that the entire mission of this character and his existence is kind of ill-informed. It just wasn't a very good idea for this character to exist. But insofar as an actor could play this character competently and with charisma, I think Edward Norton does a good job. You know, what do you think? I can tell by the faces you're making that you don't necessarily agree with me.
So this is exciting in that it is the first time De Niro and Norton have performed together in a film since 2001's The Score, yep. Which we both are big fans of.
Yep, very good one.
Unfortunately, the Stone is no The Score.
This is no The Score.
Edward Norton has an inherent charisma, just like De Niro. But I don't know if it was his choice as a performer or the director's or however it shook out, but I really hate the voice that Norton affects in this film for his character Stone. I hate the way he sounds. I hated listening to him talk. And not just like in a this is someone who grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Not like that. I mean, the way he's tweaking the tone of his voice just really got under my skin in an unfortunate way.
I'm clean as anybody, man. I'm clean as you.
Maybe not.
Seriously, let me ask you something, Why you get to sit there like asking me these questions like you never done nothing? I mean, why you get to walk around free and I don't?
Yeah, I think that's the way you're supposed to feel, man. I think the whole point of this character is that he's really fucking annoying. Like, I don't know, like that's the way that I read it. Like I read the character of Stone. So like, let's talk about this right now, right? So he has this way of speaking. It's a dialect, I guess, right? What dialect is it? Like, what is he affecting?
I have no idea.
It's some sort of affectation. I don't really know like what it's supposed to be an affectation of, but he does not speak in a way that I really think I ever hear people speak. It's a very odd way of speaking. His cadence, the specific choice of words, like he uses some malapropisms. He has a very fluid improvisational way of talking, which I think people who I've known in my life who are kind of like this person do. And he is intensely charismatic in a really annoying way. And I think that's the way that the character is supposed to be. Like, I think that's who he's playing. I don't know. That was my read of it, was that this was supposed to be somebody really fucking annoying and intense. And like, that's why he's playing him that way.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing your argument. I think we should put a pin in that too, because I want to get more into what Stone does over the course of the film and whether or not I think it works. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I'll have more to say about, and let's not forget his character does have cornrows at this point.
Yes, we should say this. So we don't need to put a link in the show notes or anything. You Google Stone film, the first image that pops up is going to be a picture of Edward Norton with the cornrows. And if you're listening, I would encourage you to do that Google search just so you can picture it in your head while we're talking.
Don't go on Google. Don't give them the traffic. Follow Our Hero De Niro on Instagram.
Fair enough.
See the poster there when this episode releases. Right. We're at Our Hero De Niro.
You're right. I'm sorry. That's my mistake. You edit this in post. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wrote here, this Stone guy seems insufferable, to my earlier point. So Jack wants Stone to tell him about why he's in prison. Stone doesn't want to talk about it. And Stone gets really pissed and like talks a bunch of shit and threatens to leave. And Jack like totally like steps on him, essentially. Like he's like, you need to sit the fuck down, like, etc. And so let me say, for the first time, this is the first time that I noticed in a way that is like, it's not as sensational as some of the ways that Jack will do a bad job at his job throughout the film. But even right here in this scene, when it seems like he's relatively still well put together, he really loses his temper with this inmate. And I remember watching, like, thinking it wasn't necessarily a strong show of like masculinity or firmness or anything. Like, it really seemed like he lost his cool. And it kind of seems like if you're going to work with difficult folks, like if you were in a high security prison environment with violent criminals, you kind of would need to have a pretty strong hold on your emotions, don't you think? Like, it seems like it would be pretty important.
Well, sure. And I think this falls into a problem with De Niro's character. He plays this character, Jack Mabry. I think it's a real problem with Mabry's characterization, because we are told, or it's indicated to us very early on, that he's a very competent professional at the tail end of his career. But here he's
as good as he's ever going to be.
Right.
But
here we see him in his first meeting with Stone. Stone has barely done anything besides be kind of annoying, and Jack loses his shit. So what is that indicating to us as viewers now? Literally one scene later, one shot later.
Yep. So after Jack puts Stone in his place, he comes back and they start talking. And Jack tells him to, quote, pretend like we're friends. They talk about how Stone is married, and Stone explains that his wife is like really super hot. And he's really lurid and descriptive in the ways that he talks about, like having, relations with his wife and how hot he finds her. He describes her as an alien and like a really unusual person. And then Stone sees a picture of Jack's wife on Jack's desk and starts asking him questions about his sex life with his wife. And Jack does not want to talk about this. I don't know. Nothing else of interest really happens in this scene, but like it's all essentially introduced. Like, and so we have the, the dichotomy between these two characters, right? Like Stone is like a free spirit, annoying fucking weirdo who has like a hot wife who he loves to talk about fucking. And Jack is like a really repressed, like stuck up asshole who like doesn't ever want to talk about his feelings to anyone. You made a face, but I said nothing else of interest happens in the scene. Do you remember something of interest happening in this scene besides what I said?
No, it's just, it's funny because I think your interpretation is correct. I think that's what the filmmakers wanted us to think about these characters. But in reality, I think if you were in that sort of situation, I don't think anyone would perceive you as stuck up for not wanting to talk about your private sex life with your spouse.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's such
right,
a funny,
you're right.
Like, I think your interpretation is what they wanted you to, wanted us to think. It's so funny how clumsily it's kind of delivered early in the film. But no, the only thought I had was just, wow, they're setting this up to be a weirdly horny film.
Oh, yeah. It's a super horny film, by the way. And so let's talk a little bit about the tone, right? Because a paint by numbers description of the film is not going to do a very good job of describing the tone. And I think you just kind of teased at it a little bit. So around this time in the film, Caroline turned to me and said, this script feels like it was written by AI. And I actually agree. I think that's a pretty adept way at describing it, honestly. Imagine AI's attempts at storytelling. Like if you ever talked to ChatGPT and asked it to like write a story for you, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like it understands structurally like how stories are put together. It's read millions of stories, but there's just some fundamental human soft dimension to the way that the story is put together or that the characters act or whatever. Like you can just kind of tell it was written by a computer, you know? And that's kind of the way that this all feels. Like to Mike's point, I think that as I took my notes down, I noted what I could tell the filmmakers were trying to make us feel because I understand like plot and writing, but none of it ever works at any point in the film. Nothing lands the way the filmmakers intended to, and the tone of the film is just, it's just very odd. Like it's supposed to be kind of like a dark, sexy thriller. Like it's a very horny movie, like I said, but like there's nothing sexy or horny about it at all. It's just like, it's just weird. And like none of the characters make any sense.
Yeah, I think the horniness is actually at odds with the tone that this film aspires to have, because I think at its core, I think it wants to be this brooding, muted, emotionally detached story about emotionally ambiguous characters. And the horniness complicates it, really. It's not employed effectively. And I'm not saying don't make films horny or that I'm one of those anti-sex scene weirdos that have popped up the last few years, but deploy it effectively. And this starts off the bat with Edward Norton delivering this weird monologue about his marital
super hot wife.
Yeah, his super hot alien wife, and and it just kind of spirals from there.
Well, there you go. So Jack drives home and he's listening to a religious show on the radio. And so this is, I think, the first explicit mention we get of religion in this film. And so here's another thing that I want to observe. This is a very religious film in a way that does not work at all. Like it fails at every turn in every way. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. I've watched a couple of really great films that have religious themes over the past few months. One was Mean Streets, which obviously I think is an almost an incomparable masterpiece. And then the other was Bad Lieutenant at your recommendation, which I really liked. I certainly didn't love it as much as I loved Mean Streets. And I also, I guess I should say, I watched The Last Temptation of Christ.
Is that a religious film?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And, you know, I really like films about religion, I guess. Like, it's a thing that I really enjoy. I really like the aesthetics of Catholicism. I like the Bible. I really enjoy all of that kind of stuff. And nothing about it in this film lands at all. Like, I think Jack is supposed to be like, he's vaguely Episcopalian. And so his family has like those kinds of observances. And like, we see them go to church and we see him listening to religious talk radio. And oh boy, Edward Norton is going to have a huge subplot to do with God later on in the film that I can't wait to talk about. But like, none of it works for me thematically. Like, I think we're supposed to understand that this character feels some of that like Catholic guilt style emotion that we've seen in some of these other religious films that we've watched recently and that I just mentioned. But like, I don't know, like what's up with it? Do you have anything to say about this? Like other than that it just doesn't work?
No, because you're right. The film seems desperate to engage with religion, religious ritual,
Big concepts,
spiritual
right?
awakening.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it doesn't do anything particularly interesting with those ideas. And so it almost feels like a veneer on top of the film. Oh, we're sprinkling in this religious radio, religious AM radio in between scenes, and De Niro goes to church, and there's a subplot involving Stone and religion that we'll get into later. But
I can't wait.
How does it engage with those topics or ideas? What does it really have to say? How hollow does it end up feeling? We'll get into that.
I noted here in my notes, too, that I forgot to note earlier because I didn't realize it was important.
That's awesome.
That earlier he was listening to some conservative talk radio. Like he was listening to some conservative talk radio host excoriate the Obama administration for the way that it described the stimulus bill as having put money back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. And I noted here, and I still didn't understand, really, I don't think at the end of the movie, what's up with the weird aggrieved white guy bent to Jack's character? Like, it's like, it seems to want to engage with that, like, type of characterization and, like, wants to observe that he, like, is this type of guy, like an Obama era, like, angry older white dude. But, like, nothing ever happens with that in the film. Like, it's very interesting. Like, it's kind of like the religion thing in that way, where it's, like, almost like it's just there to give it a veneer of seriousness. Like, It has big things to say about human drama. But, like, it never actually does.
Right. Why open with narration about Obama or the political climate of that era instead of some of that religious talk radio?
Yeah.
How does it inform the character?
It doesn't. Yeah, that's a rhetorical question. So the next day, Jack has another meeting with Stone, and Stone asks him how he can get out. They have a conversation wherein it is revealed that what Stone is in for is killing his grandparents in a way that involved arson. And so what Stone was charged with was arson, and a co-conspirator of his, was actually charged with the murder of the grandparents. We get a scene of Jack's wife, whose name I never learned, by the way. Do you know her name? I called her Jack's wife every time I talked about her in my notes.
Oh, Lucetta.
No. That's Stone's wife's name. I remembered that.
Oh, sorry.
It's a really weird name.
It was Madeline. Yeah. Madeline is De Niro's wife.
Okay, sure. I'm still just going to call her Stone's wife. But there we go. Now we got it. And she's playing cards with some friends. And Stone's wife, to your point, Lucetta, calls the house asking for Jack. We see her have a separate phone call with Stone, and it's revealed that they're doing some kind of scheme together. And we still don't understand what this scheme is going to be, although maybe, careful listeners might be able to guess what's going to be happening.
I don't understand the scheme. She's calling this parole officer at his fucking house? What?
Well, I mean, we know the scheme because it works.
I know, but why?
Right, I mean, I understand how it's supposed to get to like what the eventual scheme is, but like we understand eventually what the scheme is. It works. It's gonna work.
It defies belief that it works. It just, oh man, yeah. Let's continue on because none of this shit makes any sense to me after a certain point.
It could only work on the world's worst parole officer, a parole officer whom, we'll remind you, dear listeners, is so good at his job, ostensibly, that it was a hilarious joke that made everyone laugh uproariously that he could have done paperwork poorly. They're doing the scheme. We see a scene of Stone in with Jack, and Jack makes a joke with him and tells him that since he killed his two grandparents, he should probably make a better effort in his relationship with his single grandparent who's still alive.
It's pretty good.
Stone looks a little offended, and Jack says he's not trying to be, quote, flip. Stone still insists that he should be freed and that he's been reborn in prison. Jack asks him what he means, and Stone does not reply. Lucetta goes to visit Stone in prison, and everyone there thinks she's really hot. So let's talk about Lucetta. How do you pronounce this actress's name? Is it Mila or Mila?
Mia.
Mia. It's Mia.
Now you fucked me up because I knew how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Mila. Mia?
Mila.
It's Mila.
I think it's Mila. I'm pretty sure it's Mila. So it's Mila Jovovich, right?
Yes, Mila Jovovich.
One of the big hot ladies of 2010. And so it is revealed that it's Mila Jovovich who plays this lady. And the way that it's played up, right, is like she's kind of a little flirty with everybody. Like everybody finds her really hot. She just has one of those like magnetic ways about her that just sucks everybody in. And so I want to say a few things about her character, right? So I didn't observe this. It's not talked about a ton, but like when we were first introduced to her, she was on the phone with Stone, it's shown that she has a job as like a children's school teacher.
Yep.
Like she's like working with kids. And so I ask you, so we've got this intensely beautiful woman, right? 9 or a 10 on the 10-point scale. Seems like she has a great personality. She's like very charismatic and seems intelligent. She has a good job that she's apparently holding down, like working with kids, right? Like good, like professional job. I think that teachers of young children are seen as having a relatively prestigious place in society, I think, as far as like normal middle class jobs go.
That's why they make the big bucks.
What the fuck is she doing with this guy? It doesn't make any sense.
Interesting.
How did they end up together and how did they stay together? Like, given the disparity in their circumstances, like, and it's Edward Norton, who is obviously like a super handsome guy, of course, but he has those stupid fucking cornrows. And when she shows up to prison, she's like, the cornrows look great. And she means it. Like, who is this character? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the timeline that they present in the film, this film came out in 2010. And I believe Stone says at one point that they've been married for 9 years, 8 of which he spent in prison. So she's 50 now. Go back to 2010. She'd be 35, married 8 years before then. This wasn't exactly a young love, teenagers,
right. It's not like
whatever,
she was like 19
kind of situation.
Yeah.
So that is a really fascinating question. I have a question of my own for you.
Sure.
Do you think that Milla Jovovich plays the character of Lucetta like a sociopath intentionally, or is she just not a very good actress?
I think it's intentional. I think Milla Jovovich is a good actress, don't you?
I've
seen her in things. I've
only ever seen her in the dog shit Resident Evil films that her husband directs, so I'm predisposed to not thinking highly of her as a performer, but that might just be because she's primarily known for being in bad films.
I think her performance in this film was lauded. I think it was one of the things about the film that was well received.
Yeah. When I did some reading into this film, it sounded like this was her shot at this was her awards play. And it's just unfortunate for her that the film kind of didn't take off the way that maybe everyone was expecting it to. I wasn't that impressed by this performance, though.
I thought she was nice in the film.
It works better if she is supposed to be a sociopath.
Yeah, I think she's obviously supposed to be a sociopath, man. Like, if not, what do you think the point of this character is? She's like a fucking
What is
weirdo.
the point of this character?
The point of the character is that she's just like, that she's like a sociopath.
Right.
Like a sociopathic id type person. Like, she just does whatever the fuck she wants all the time.
But it's so obvious to us as the viewing audience. Shouldn't it be more obvious to Robert De Niro, the world's best parole officer?
Well, I mean, it should be, right?
It's so intensely frustrating what's about to happen.
Yeah, I think that where the struggle is for me, honestly, is that I think as viewers, we're supposed to understand that she's just like so hot that like that's what happens. But I think that as viewers, we're supposed to understand that like what takes Jack in is that she's just like so hot that she's able to pull the wool over his eyes. I don't find her that hot, though. Do you? Like, I think of like, what's her name? The lady who's in The Substance.
Margaret Qualley?
Yeah, Margaret Qualley. Like, when I think of like the kind of person who could have this effect on me, like somebody who is so indisputably like one of the 10 most beautiful people alive, that like if I met her and she tried to seduce me, maybe she could trick me into thinking she wasn't a sociopath with her like pure charisma and sexual magnetism. I never thought Milla Jovovich was that hot. Like, I don't know, like, how do you feel about her? It's one of the things about the film that didn't work for me. Like, she's not on the top of the like hot lady mountain for me. Like, I don't know. Where's she at for you on your hot lady mountain?
That's interesting. It really had nothing to do with physical attractiveness for me, but how immediately apparent her scheme was. And I don't know. Listen, I'm in grad school for social work right now. I'm in this MSW program taking an ethics and social work class at the graduate level. And basically, it seems to me that the number one rule in the NASW Code of Ethics is...
It's in just about every code of ethics, just so you know, since I know what you're about to say.
Yeah, they really hammer on this one. You really don't want to do it. do not fuck clients. Don't have sex with clients. And I'm sure that can be extended to their spouses. So if you are a month away from retirement and you're the best PO ever, how do you get sucked in so quickly just because this woman is an attractive 35-year-old?
Because he's so repressed.
I guess. She's also stalking him. The frequent
Listen,
phone
I'm
call.
not
like,
saying it works. I'm just saying, like, I understand the point the filmmakers are making. And so when I accept it at face value, that's the part that doesn't work for me. I don't think Mila Jovovich would have that effect on me if I met her in real life.
But she has that reputation professionally. I think she's known for being particularly beautiful.
Yeah, I just don't think that I've ever thought about her that way. Like, she's beautiful, obviously, but like, I'm not getting like really super excited about it.
The way that you couldn't suspend your disbelief in Stanley and Iris, that De Niro's character would never have bothered taking 6 months to learn how to read. I was incapable of believing that De Niro's character would be this horny for a woman who is so obviously both crazy and trying to
run a
manipulate
con on
him.
Like,
right.
Yeah, it's so obvious. It's fair. Great discussion. Glad we're here talking about this. So anyway, we've been introduced to her character, right? This is her whole deal, and their relationship makes no sense, and nothing about her character makes any sense. We can all agree on that. I wrote here, she seems to have a lot of passion for Stone. She likes his cornrows. She tries to do some mutual masturbation with him, but he stops her because he doesn't want to get in trouble and jeopardize his parole. He's really upset about being in prison and says maybe he should kill himself. So this is the first of a few times where Stone talks to Lucetta about being suicidal, and she either dismisses it or refuses to engage with it in a way that I think we're supposed to understand as a character moment, but that makes no fucking sense to me at all. Did you notice this? And if so, do you have any idea like what the point was of it?
Do I understand what the point was? No. But yeah, I did notice how dismissive she was because, I mean, this is a legitimate high stakes situation. The guy is in prison.
Right.
For arson.
Like, everybody in prison is on suicide watch, right? I mean, like, you should be. Like, it's a pretty fucking grim situation to be in your life. Like,
and she just brushes it off like, oh no, don't talk like that, baby. And it's like, yeah,
I mean, I think he might be really sad. He's in prison and he killed his grandparents. Like, I think maybe you should be a little bit concerned about him. Seems like somebody who might kill themselves based on their circumstances.
He's visited by the ghosts of Nana and Papa every night in his cell. It's really disruptive to his sleep schedule.
By the way, they'll call him that later. So next scene, Stone is in the library and he's looking at books about Zucan gore. I'm just peppering in little funny things that Caroline said that made me laugh. So he gets out 2 books at the library about this Zucan gore character. I didn't Google this. Did you Google this? Is
no,
this a real
what the
thing?
fuck are you? No.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't take any notes on the film. You think I Googled Zucan gore? I was anticipating one of the jokes Caroline made when she watched the film with you.
I don't know what it is, but I've never heard of it before. And I definitely know a little bit about like, apocryphal Christian mythology. I wouldn't say I know a lot, but I would say I know significantly more than the average person. And I am not familiar with this, with the Zucan gore guy. I'm going to Google it right now. Yeah, doesn't appear to be a real thing. Appears to be something made up for the film. So Zucan gore appears to be like some sort of like Gnostic Gospels, like Dead Sea Scrolls style, like mythological figure in like, on the outskirts of Christian mythology, essentially. And so the joke Caroline made is he ends up getting 2 books out of the library about Zucan gore. And she said, what the fuck is this prison's library that it had 2 books about Zucan gore? Like, whatever this thing is, like, it's like you wouldn't even expect it to have necessarily like 2 books about a topic that anybody's ever heard of. He's researching this like obscure, like Dead Sea Scroll type Christian figure. And they just have like 2 of the books about this guy in the prison library. It's pretty insane.
Can you donate books to a prison library?
Oh, I guess you probably could. Yeah, so maybe they had a benefactor who was really passionate about Zucan gore.
Maybe the Zucan gores were knocking, going door to door. They knocked on the prison door. Said, we have some literature for you.
So he's reading the book out loud. And it's a really weird book, but the lights go out, so he can't read anymore. And what he talks about and what he's reading out loud is essentially like something about there being magical sounds that are kind of like, he calls them God's tuning fork, that when you hear them and when you're able to like really like let them into your consciousness, they'll like create like the spiritual awakening that you experience essentially. And importantly, importantly is a funny way to describe it. Importantly, and I say that only because I know the filmmakers meant for it to be important. I don't understand why it was important or what the point of it was. But importantly, one of the examples that he gives of what this type of sound could be is the sound of a bee buzzing, which you may recall, dear listeners, was the sound that Jack's wife heard at the beginning of the movie before young Robert De Niro threatened to kill their daughter. Yeah, very powerful stuff.
Oh my God.
Very
artsy.
symbolic. Yep. So Lucetta is calling Jack at his house again. She leaves him a message and then calls some guy to bang her, some rando.
Just a quick shot for a couple of seconds of her getting ground out.
Will never matter. The next morning, she approaches Jack at work in the parking lot. She's super pushy. She's kind of flirty. She offers him a bird's nest.
It's so transparent.
She offers him a bird's nest that her kids made, which is more insane, by the way, because like she's obviously talking about her like school children whom she teaches, but like Jack doesn't know she's a teacher. So that's like a very weird thing to say to somebody who like you don't know, like my kids made this. And I wrote, and for some reason he takes it. Because I did not understand like why he would accept this gift after insisting that it was unethical for him to take it.
Well, he was trying to get her. He was trying to end the conversation. He just did it to end
it. Still is unethical, but it's also fucking worthless.
Yes.
So it's like you're committing an ethics violation for something that like I would pay to not have in my house. Honestly, like
that's just more.
If you told me you have to have this, or you can give me $10 to not have it, I'd be like, here's the $10. Like I don't fucking want this garbage in my house. Like you keep it. You know, it's like some shitty fucking painted bird's nest. But I understand from the scene that the reason why he took it could have been that his first meeting was with Stone. So he walks in and shows Stone the bird's nest, and he's pissed that Lucetta approached him in the parking lot. Stone feigns confusion, though, about why Lucetta would have approached him. And to be clear, we still don't really know what the scheme is at this point. So we don't understand like what the nature is of Stone's involvement and what Lucetta is doing, how much she's kind of gone rogue, how much she's following his direction, whatever. Jack throws away the bird's nest. Stone shows the Zucan Gore book to Jack, and he gives a rant about God's tuning fork. And he mentions the bee buzzing again and just talks about how he wants to have this spiritual awakening that God's tuning fork might make him have. So I wrote here. So let's talk about it now. I really hate the way this movie looks.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I found it striking, honestly, and it really started to wear on me at this point in this scene with Jack and Stone. What do you think about the way this film looks?
Well, let's give credit where it's due. This film was shot by French cinematographer Maurice Alberti, whose name I am sure I'm mispronouncing, as I almost always do. And it's interesting because I did a little reading about her last night after I watched the film, because I had a very strong reaction to the film cinematography. Apparently, she mostly works in the U.S. on independent films and observational documentaries, which I thought, okay, she has the pedigree, right? They are doing what they need to do on paper to create this artsy, moody, morally ambiguous crime thriller. But the cinematography did not work for me at all. That is the only reason why I looked up this cinematographer. I really didn't like the look and feel of this film. So do you want to say?
Striking.
Yeah. Do you want to say why you didn't like it, and then maybe I can tell you why I didn't like it?
Yeah. So what I didn't like about it was I felt like it was all very flat. I felt like the colors were kind of muted, and there was a desaturated quality to it that I feel like. I guess I understand if the tone of the film is supposed to be a little dour and serious, but I think what this film actually needed was like a little bit of emotion injected to it, like into it, like to make you feel anything. And I feel like the dullness of the images really conspired with the dullness of the writing to make the whole thing feel very dull. Like the cinematography really complemented the script in a very bad way. What about you? What did you dislike about it?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. So I second that. I didn't like the muted color palette. I agree. It's clearly there to reflect the tone that they're trying to create for the film. But like the film itself, it is too dull for what they're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
The color grading reminded me of an Instagram filter from that era.
Yep, I agree.
So that was one problem, was the color palette. I also didn't like a lot of the camera shots and movements. There are a lot of close-up shots and more shots that are kind of intimately framed in a way that I didn't like. It felt very pretentious to me in a way that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yep, I completely agree. So Jack and his wife go to church, and as they're leaving, Jack gives his wife the keys and says he wants to stay back with the pastor to talk. We get a cutaway to Stone at the basketball court at the prison, and he's kind of like, seems like maybe he's trying to make the God's tuning fork sound happen. Like he's like sitting there and like making weird vibrating sounds, but I think we're to understand that he's distracted by all the noise around him. And we see Jack talking to his pastor at the church, and he says sometimes he has really bad thoughts, quote, "You should shoot me or something," end quote. And the pastor pushes back and said that's not what God wants. We see Stone doing his vibrating noises again at the prison. Lucetta calls Jack's house, and he asks her to come and see him at the prison. And she says the only line in the film that made me laugh. This I thought was a pretty funny line. She says, "I'm bad in offices. I just can't be real in offices," as her justification for not coming in to see him, which is such a funny thing to say to someone. Like, I was like, I feel like it really works at like, there are these flashes. See, like, that's what I mean. Like, it's like with Stone, these people are really fucking annoying. Like, that's their characters. Like, it's like she's like a person who is bad in offices. She just can't be real in an office. Like, she needs to meet somewhere else.
But that's one of my problems with this film, because one of the parallels I was drawing unintentionally, I was trying to focus on the film, but I was thinking about the character of Stone in particular. And I thought, wouldn't this be a lot more compelling to viewers if Stone was charismatic, like a Hannibal Lecter type of figure, someone who is intelligent or charismatic, or someone that you are drawn into, versus really annoying sex freak with cornrows?
I thought he was charismatic. I find him charming.
Yeah.
I do find him charismatic.
Citizens,
weigh in, guys. Yep, watch
how
the
did
movie.
you feel? How did you feel about what did you call him? Jerk off or whatever?
Oh, Genghis.
Jingus, yeah. Let us know what you thought of Jingus's character at ourherodeniro@gmail.com.
I'm sorry. I got a mouth. I know. I apologize, man. You're giving me that look, and I feel like you go down here, and that's the end of this shit. You know, I mean, I don't want no beef with you. I'm just gonna be vegetarian.
So Lucetta keeps pushing Jack. She's being vaguely seductive. She talks about how much she loves her husband, but she does it in a very suggestive kind of sexual way. In the next scene, we see her talking to Stone, and she tells him that she's got Jack pulled in and their scheme to seduce him is going to work. So the scheme is revealed, right? The scheme is that Lucetta is going to use her feminine wiles to seduce Jack and in some way co-opt the decision-making process to get him to release Stone from prison.
Right.
So
it's the most obvious plan. Stone's entire plan is just having a hot wife. It's not an interesting plan.
I mean, listen, it's not a fucking good movie. Like, I don't know. And let me just say, right? Careful listeners will have noted we already revealed that the scheme is going to work. And that's one of the things that makes the film so bad, is that, like, you know, I don't think it would work, honestly. Like, I don't know. I don't think it would work. Do you think it would work? Even on like the world's stupidest man?
I think you would have to completely retool the Jack Mabry character into someone who is maybe just at the start of their career or something like that. Maybe through coincidence falls in with the wife of a convict that he's seeing. Something like that. I don't know. There's
or like
a way
it's done a little bit more subtly on the wife's part. Like the way she insinuates herself into his life. Like, yeah. Yeah, there was a way to do this that made sense, probably, as you're saying. Yeah.
Maybe that's how it was originally in Angus McLaughlin's script. But then they were able to cast De Niro, and they just they turned the Jack Mabry character from a 25-year-old to a 70-year-old.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they originally cast the guy who played young version of him as the male lead. But then when they got De Niro, they were like, oh, we'll relegate you to the smaller part. We'll just put a Sharpie on your cheek. Yeah. We'll put a Sharpie on your cheek in this flashback. Stone tells her, here's the second moment where he talks about killing himself. Stone tells her he thought he wanted to kill himself, and she seems surprised by that, even though he just said it to her like 3 scenes ago. It doesn't seem like she's really accepting it, and she says, you must have just eaten spicy food the night that you thought that you were going to kill yourself. And I just wrote, makes sense. And so I really don't understand, like, I think we are supposed to understand that this character is incredibly intelligent, right? Like, I think that's her character. Like, she's smarter than everybody else. And so I don't understand. So, like, we know, right? She obviously understands. She's not being dismissive because she doesn't get it. She doesn't actually think that he just ate spicy food. So, like, why? What is her character's motivation? It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like she actually cares about Stone in her way, like as a sociopath. Like, I don't know. It seems like she at least is really into him sexually and wants him to be released. Right. So, like, why? Like, why? Like, why doesn't she care about this? It doesn't make any sense.
I wish I had an answer for you.
So Jack meets up with Lucetta at her house, and he's telling her about his daughter and how she's getting a divorce. I mean, if he'd just thrown her out the window, she wouldn't have lived long enough to get divorced. So, kind of makes you think. Yeah. And he tries to put her off a bit. She's coming on to him still, but he's mentioned that he has back pain. And so she kind of co-opts the conversation by talking about magnet therapy for his back.
Water, fire, air, and dirt. Fucking magnets, how do they work?
She describes it as for detoxing from microwaves and things like that in the modern world. And she says, it's real. I believe it, as a justification for why he should believe it, which I thought was another super funny line, even though it didn't make me laugh out loud. And then she gives him a hard-boiled egg for some reason that her kids made.
Yeah, the egg thing was weird.
Listen, I didn't write down much, actually, like in spite of how many notes I have. So like if I wrote it down, it's because like it stood out to me, like it's in the prison. We see Stone and we find out that he hasn't eaten in 2 days. So the guards take him to the infirmary. We're to understand, I think, that he was trying to be taken to the infirmary. I think because it's a quiet place where he can maybe hear God's tuning fork. We cut to Lucetta doing the magnet therapy with Jack, and she seduces Jack while we see scenes of Jack's wife interspersed just smoking alone on their porch. While Lucetta seduces Jack, we see Stone in the infirmary and he witnesses a violent prison fight wherein I think at least one other inmate is killed. I read in the plot summary on Wikipedia that it was one. I thought it was more than one person. How many people do you think got killed in the prison fight?
I do not understand how you thought it was more than one person who was killed.
Well, there you go.
There are multiple guys stabbing one man to death.
I don't know. I thought more than one man got stabbed. I think I found the scene confusing.
I found it honestly unintentionally funny because the way that Edward Norton, the way that Stone watches this happen with awe in his eyes. He's kind of laying on the ground and he's trying to stick his arm through a slot in the door, trying to reach out to the dying man whose eyes he's looking to. But he's just looking at it with this childlike look in his eyes. And I thought it was so funny, just him with that look and the cornrows. It all really came together for me in that scene of the man being brutally murdered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for you. I think that's nice. So Jack is successfully seduced by Lucetta, and they sleep together. Jack and his wife eat a meal together, and he says the blessing for the food, but is very uncomfortable with praying, probably because of the guilt of the adultery of it all.
Yeah.
We see Stone in prison, and he hears the sound, God's tuning fork, while he's staring at a painting of a deer on the wall. We see Jack listening to talk radio again. He's out golfing. He's with Lucetta. They're fucking. We see some super fake looking pumping in the sex scene. And Jack tells Lucetta that she can't tell anybody about their affair because of the implication, because of the ethics of it all. as you alluded to earlier.
It's like, buddy, why do you think she had sex with your 70-year-old ass?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to keep it on the
visits-
down low.
Lucetta visits Stone in prison, and she tells Stone that Jack told her that the board is going to review the case, the parole board, and she implies something about maybe Stone's mom having abused him and something about him having been a drug addict when he killed his grandparents. But she doesn't think he's listening to her, but he insists he is listening to her. But I don't think he was listening to her. None of these characters' interactions make any sense to me at all. I don't understand what the dynamic is supposed to be between them. Reminder. The tone of this movie doesn't make sense. You know, like if you're listening to this and you're imagining, right, and you're imagining that maybe the tone does make sense, like just trust me, it doesn't. Like none of the scenes that I'm describing feel the way that I think they were intended to feel to you as a viewer.
Maybe I'll ask you this question now. This is a film that's very much about moral ambiguity in regards to all of the film's four characters. So, you know, one of the questions that the film asks us as viewers is, can people really change, or do we just perform change when it benefits us? And I think that question can be applied to the character of Stone. I think the film wants to present his transformation ambiguously and ask us, do we believe, and I'll ask you, do you believe that Stone's transformation was sincere?
No, not even a little bit. And I don't even think that I necessarily think that he doesn't believe it. I just think he's like one of those assholes, you know, who has weak morals, who is not particularly intelligent. Like, I think he's sharp, he's street smart, but I think he's not a very considered smart person. He certainly isn't very wise. And I think he's just like one of those assholes who finds ways to justify his behavior to himself. And I think his transformation that he's undergoing in the movie is just this story that he is making up to tell himself for like why the way he is fine, actually. So like, no, I don't believe in his transformation at all.
So I agree with you completely. And I think it is a failing of the film that it's so obvious to us, or we're leaning so strongly in one direction.
Yep.
However, when I was reflecting on the film after I watched it last night, I did think that it is much funnier to imagine that immediately after Stone sets his hot sociopath wife down this path of stalking, harassing, and fucking De Niro's character, that he immediately loses interest in that scheme because he found God. I think that's like so funny that like the next time
that's why he's not listening to her.
Yeah, the next time
that
she
explains
visits,
the dynamic between the characters.
Yeah, he's so preoccupied with hearing God's tuning fork that he's like he's like, what are you even talking about? It's just like,
who's Jack?
Right. I've been reading this brochure. Right.
Right. It's about Zookingor. There were two of them in the library.
You had sex with him?
It's really good. We get a scene of Jack at work and he's all agitated. He's fighting with a lady he works with about some bullshit that doesn't matter. Yeah, sure. And Stone comes in and he's talking about his trauma from the murder, singular. I wrote murderers in my notes, but the murder, singular, that he saw in the infirmary. And we sense some tension, some kind of like emotional current, I guess, between Jack and Stone. And I wrote here, does Stone know what's going on between Jack and Lucetta explicitly at this point? What do you think? It was always very unclear to me, like, at what points and in how much detail Stone understood his wife's travails.
That's actually a really interesting question, because I was a little confused about this myself, because clearly this had to have been the plan. The plan wasn't get close to this guy and play bingo with him or
and
whatever.
Don't fuck him.
It was
like,
right. It was go out there and fuck this guy. But we never hear the verbal confirmation. It's obviously implied, and he does reveal later on that he knows what happened. But it's unclear to me if he knows at this point how much progress has been made towards that goal.
Yeah, super bad movie. Jack wakes up in the night and tells his wife he's going to sleep in the other room due to his back pain, but he goes out to see Lucetta. They talk about Stone, and she assures Jack that he's just a weirdo. He's a nice guy, but he's just weird.
He drives like some car from the early 80s, this like old, loud fucking sedan. And they live in this country house in the middle of nowhere. They've been there, and just imagining him,
really funny.
imagining him telling his wife, "I'm going to go sleep on the couch or in the guest room," and you just hear the as he pulls out at like 10 p.m.
No, he probably put it in neutral and pushed it
Yeah,
down
he
to
just
the
pushed
street.
it down the
Oh my god. What's happening right now?
I don't know. I don't know. John Curran, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yep. Jack really seems in the scene to buy Stone's religious awakening.
Why?
But it seems like Jack is.
Isn't
I don't
that like the
understand.
playbook that every convict is going to have like a week before their parole hearing?
Jack is skeptical about the whole situation with Lucetta and asks her what's going on and tells her to be straight with him. And she insists she's only sleeping with him because she likes him and she wouldn't do something that she didn't want to do. And he says he's not going to come see her anymore. And she's dismissive toward him and condescending. And I wrote here, it's terrifying to imagine that somebody like this should be teaching children, which I believe. Like I was watching this and I was like, oh my God, like you don't know your children's teachers. You know, like they could all be fucking freaks like this lady in their off time.
For what it's worth, she seems like a good teacher. The worst thing she did to those kids
She does seem like a good teacher.
Have them
I
make
agree.
that stupid bird's nest for De Niro's pens
Yeah,
or whatever.
but they're little kids. Kids make all kinds of stupid shit.
I know.
You
I agree. So I'm
they'll be
saying,
fine.
I
Yeah,
think
they'll be
she
fine.
seems
Yeah.
like a competent professional.
Yep. So Jack goes home and washes up. Next day, he submits his report on Stone, and he meets with him and tells him about it. Ultimately, the board is going to ask him to take accountability for his actions and recommend some rehabilitative action on his part, but he's going to be released. He tells Jack about his grandparents' killing, and I wrote here it was his cousin, I guess, the guy who actually did the killing. They're shown on screen. The murders look pretty brutal. His grandma's leg was cut off, and Stone gives this crazy rant about hearing God's tuning fork and how it's how he knew he had to burn the house down, was hearing God's tuning fork. He says the only thought that came into his head while he watched his grandparents burn was, quote, and this is a quote, "This is awesome." And I wrote, this character is so funny to me. I also wrote here that the character of Jack is very funny to me as well. His repression and unthoughtfulness.
It's all funny. It's all funny.
really good. Yeah.
It's not supposed to be funny, but it is funny.
Stone talks again about how insane and alien his wife is, and Jack gives a rant about how meaningful the carceral system is because of recidivism or something like that. It's really unclear. Jack ends the meeting, and Stone gives another crazy rant about how Jack doesn't have anybody to stand behind him and he should blow his whole life up. I wrote, is he going to kill his wife and burn down his house? I'm 1 for 2 on that prediction. So here's where I predicted the
From the
end of
twisted
film.
mind of Angus McLaughlin.
Jack and his wife are together again. Lucetta keeps calling the house. His wife wants him to let the phone ring to the machine, but he insists on answering it, and it's actually their daughter. We get a scene of Jack and his wife on the porch at night, and she's reading a Zucangor flyer that she got in the mail and ranting about interlife soul progression and talking about God's tuning fork. Lucetta comes to Jack's house acting crazy, and he makes her leave. We're really just kind of sailing through it right here. We're almost at the end of the film now. Jack goes in the next day to see the warden. He's been thrown a little bit by Stone's kind of admission to him that he just thought his parents burning up was awesome, and he wants to adjust his report on Stone. The warden won't let him, and the parole board hearing is in an hour. The warden tells him that he could go to the board hearing to amend the record, but he decides not to go. Jack leaves work angrily. We see Stone in the hearing. Nobody is in the chairs behind him. I think we're to understand that this is a callback to the previous scene where he said that Jack didn't have anybody to stand behind him, but I don't fucking understand what the point of this film is thematically, so I don't know why. I don't know like what the significance is of that.
Yeah, I can't help you there.
Yeah, I think maybe we're supposed to see them as like two sides of the same coin, but it like
That-
just is
Like a Hannibal situation.
incredibly unsuccessful. Like really bad. Jack and his wife are sitting in the kitchen talking about some like scripture verses or something like that. There's tension between them. She asks Jack if he has something to say to her, and he says he wouldn't know where to start. Stone is released. I wrote, he's definitely going to kill Jack's wife and burn his house down. Lucetta comes to get him, and there's a lot of weird tension. Stone tells Jack as he's leaving that he knows about him and Lucetta, and that has to be against some kind of rule. Jack goes home. He sits on his porch at night with a gun. We see a shot of his wife's puzzle. She's been working on it all movie and doesn't seem to be making any progress. Jack wakes up at night and his house is on fire. His wife gives an insane rant about how it was actually God who burned their house down. She said there were frayed wires, rags, etc. I don't really understand if we're supposed to think she knows what happened or like doesn't. None of this makes any sense, I wrote. And I also wrote, and I feel this in my soul, I hope my house never burns down. It seems really stressful. I really hope that never happens to me. Yeah. It's like, even if everybody gets out, like, what a nightmare. All your stuff's in there, you know?
The paperwork alone.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Because like, yeah, we got good homeowners insurance, but like, you're right. I'm sure they'd have to talk to claims adjusters. There'd be a lot of paperwork. People want to come out and look at stuff. Like, it would really be like a whole thing. Jack's wife leaves him. We see a scene of her with their daughter, and she tells their daughter that she almost left Jack once in the past. And her daughter says, I think you should have left him a long time ago, essentially, which, like, fair, definitely. Jack has his retirement party, and he's sitting at the bar at his party with the lady who's backfilling him, and tells her not to get close to the inmates or whatever. He's really drunk. He comes on to her, and he gets really upset and toxic and misogynistic when she rebuffs him. The warden senses the tension and can tell that Jack is really drunk and tries to stop him from leaving and insists on driving him home himself. But he says he's going to get in cab and immediately gets in his car and drives away.
Just you hear the 1980 fucking whatever Pontiac.
He goes to Lucetta and Stone's apartment. As he pulls up, Stone walks out. Jack sticks him up with a gun. Stone tells him he doesn't think he'll kill him. Jack argues. Stone insists he won't kill him and walks away, and Jack doesn't kill him. And that's the end of the movie. The end. What a film. Yep. For us, really was a pretty breezy recap. So, Mike, what'd you think of Stone?
in case you didn't know already.
I'm sure you fucking loved it.
I will say I'm really struggling with my rating of the film, what number I'm going to land on. I think it's really
it's between two for me. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yep. Maybe I'll tell you the two that I'm thinking. You tell me the two you're thinking after I tell you my final thoughts. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
So no, I mean, listen, I didn't like this film. I think it is unsuccessful at the type of film it's trying to be. Tonally, it actually reminded me the most, and this is maybe the greatest compliment I'll give it. It reminded me the most of the film Enemy by Denis Villeneuve, which we watched together at your house a while ago. And that's a slow
nice
burn psychological thriller starring Jake Gyllenhaal that, while I respected, I ultimately didn't care for that much. It just didn't connect with me.
Yep.
And I felt when I was watching this film, Stone, that it was trying to do something similar or be that type of film, but much less successfully. So it worked for me far less. When it comes to the performances, there are really only 4 main characters in this film, and I can't help but feel like De Niro and Norton especially are kind of wasted. This film, it had a pretty low budget, $22 million. I think it tried its hardest.
They must have spent half of that on them, right?
Sure.
Like maybe more.
Well, and you can tell because, listen, production quality wise, this is not a Bagman or Savage Salvation. It's not at that level of garbage, but you can tell it's a very low budget kind of film because there are only 3 locations. There's Jack's office, Jack's house, and miscellaneous outdoor shots around Michigan where they shot. They're always sitting. Nothing really happens. The conversations aren't that interesting. So while the acting is solid enough from all of the leads, it just is not enough to save this story that feels dramatically inert to me. Also thematically, I mean, we already spent a decent amount of time talking about this, but this is a film that is trying to engage with spiritual awakening, moral ambiguity, manipulation, guilt, but in execution, it feels both heavy-handed and muddled. What was this film trying to say? What point was it trying to make? I'm totally on board with having morally ambiguous characters, and I'm not saying you need to make them likable, but what made any of them compelling? I don't think Stone
I think you kind of do have to make them likable, actually.
Well, there needs to be something likable. There needs to be something likable.
It's got to be something. Like,
something
about them that sucks you in.
Right. Again, Hannibal Lecter, a monster. He's a cannibal. He eats people, but he is very charismatic in a particular kind of way that is alluring and dangerous. And you can understand why someone on the other side of the law could get drawn into his sphere of influence. I did not get that from Edward Norton as Stone. And so the movie just ended up feeling pretty aimless to me. The film, the pacing was slow. The cinematography, the color grading was muted. And we didn't really talk about the score of this film, but the soundtrack of this film, it's a very ambient, almost experimental electronic kind of score, very droning synth kind of score. And normally, I love that sort of thing. I listen to that sort of music on my own.
Sure.
I'm that kind of guy. Guy, but boy,
There
oh
is
boy.
a fucking Genghis Stone Fletcher type character, or whatever his name was. Yeah.
But when I was listening to this film's score, I thought to myself, this sounds like the sort of ambient electronic album that I would tap out of halfway through the first song. It just wasn't interesting to me.
I wouldn't even make it through a song.
No, I think I would just tap out. I think because rather than elevating the film's tension, I think it did the disservice of flattening the film's emotional resonance. So I think that it just didn't do a good job of adding mood or energy to the film. So overall, I mean, this is a cold, clinical, emotionally disengaging psychological thriller that lacked the kind of tension that would have made its ambiguity rewarding to me. And so I am hovering. I am on the line between a final rating of 1.5 or 2 out of 5. On the one hand, 1.5 films that I've rated are Savage Salvation and The Bagman, and those are outright straight to VOD disasters. This at least seems to be trying, so I want to give it credit for that. But when I look at films that I rated 2 stars, films like Dirty Grandpa and Godsend, I would watch Godsend or Dirty Grandpa again several times before rewatching Stone. It was just too boring.
Yep.
I'd love to hear your final thoughts, and then maybe I'll come back around and just cement a final rating.
Yeah, so I have so little to add beyond what you just said. I think you said it really well, and we've done it to death over the past hour, right? Like, I understand intellectually, right? Because I think I did a pretty good job of explaining it while we were talking about it, what the creative folks were trying to do with this film, and they failed more or less at every turn. Like, I don't know that they succeeded at a single dimension of like of what they were attempting to do. I don't like the cinematography. I think the script is bad. I guess the music is bad too. I honestly didn't even notice it. Like, it just like I didn't even like think about the score while I was watching it, so it didn't have an impact on me or anything. And yeah, nothing about this film worked for me at all. And so yeah, I don't like it. And I too am kind of vacillating between a 1.5 and a 2-star rating. And I don't know, you kind of convinced me to go 1.5 based on your description, honestly. Because like I agree, right? Like when I look back at the things I've given to Dirty Grandpa, Rocky and Bullwinkle and Frankenstein, Shark Tale, Men of Honor, Stanley and Iris. Those are my 2s so far. I would fucking love to watch any one of those movies again. When I compare it to the thought of watching this again, honestly, like those are masterpieces of modern storytelling relative to this. And so, yeah, I think I got to go with 1.5, honestly, based on this discussion.
Right. It's like, is this the best of the 1.5s or is this the worst of the 2s?
Yeah, I think you got to go with best of the 1.5s.
Yeah, for that reason, I think it's going to be unanimous. Double jeopardy this week with us both giving Stone a 1.5 out of 5.
Love that double jeopardy sound. And with that, Mike, do you have any films that you would recommend in addition? I'm sorry. So with that, Mike, do you have any films that you would recommend in lieu of Stone?
Boy, do I ever. I'm actually really excited to recommend this one. I thought about a few different potential
I have a really
options.
good one today, too. Yep.
Yeah. What's nice is that I know there's no way that you thought of this one. In fact, I don't think you've seen it. I'm recommending the 2016 psychological thriller Nocturnal Animals.
Nope, never seen it.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of this
Isn't that
film.
a band? Nocturnal Animals?
I don't fucking know. Glass Animals is a thing.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I watched this film for the first time a couple of years ago, and it is notable for being the second and, to this day, most recent film directed by famous fashion designer Tom Ford. I have nothing but love for Tom Ford. Love the guy.
Yeah.
His ombre leather fragrance is what I wear almost daily. Huge fan
Certainly
of it.
is.
Oh, yeah. So the reason I'm recommending Nocturnal Animals is because I think it is trying to do similar things as Stone, but much more successfully. Tom Ford, obviously an incredibly talented fashion designer, but he has some real chops as a director. I wish he would direct more films. I haven't watched his debut, A Simple Plan, yet. Or is it A Single Man? I haven't watched his debut, A Single Man, yet, but it's definitely on my short
of the
list.
band Simple Plan, by the way.
Now you don't know what it's like. Welcome to my life.
That's it. Nocturnal Animals is a film that, just like Stone, explores moral ambiguity, emotional repression, and spiritual decay, but it is a lot more visually captivating. It is far more engaging, and I highly recommend it.
Great recommendation. It's on my watch list. I might watch it tonight.
Yeah, I highly doubt that. But what do you have to recommend this week instead of Stone?
So this week, my recommendation, I think, is a little bit more obvious than yours. Although I don't know if you've seen this film, and so maybe this will be the reason for you to watch it. I am recommending the 1999 Sam Mendes film American Beauty. You know, everybody's seen American Beauty, right?
I've never seen it. Never got around to it.
Yeah. So American Beauty is not a thriller, right? It's more of I don't know how you describe it, I guess. It's kind of like a dark drama, I guess. It's about Kevin Spacey, and he plays this disaffected, middle-aged man. He's very depressed. He's going through a midlife crisis, and he falls in love with his teenage daughter's friend. And it's just about, that forbidden love, right? And the effect that it has on his life and, how his repression in his life gets like transmogrified into this like horror of like having these sexual feelings for a young girl. It works really well. And Stone didn't. Kevin Spacey is almost unbelievably compelling in the role. Like, Kevin Spacey, obviously one of the most canceled famous people of our lifetimes, I think. But you got to give him credit. He's a pretty incredible actor, and this is one of his best performances. And it's just a beautiful film. It's very compelling. It has really nice cinematography. It's got some funny moments. It's very emotionally poignant, and thematically it all comes together, I think, in a way that's quite nice at the end. And you sort of understand like what this story was in service of from a thematic perspective, what it was trying to say about this type of person and the ways the mistakes he's made in his life have kind of spidered out into his relationships with his family and with others in his orbit. And it really cuts a very striking contrast to Stone. And if you haven't seen it, I would strongly recommend you do, because it's a nice film. It's a modern classic from the 90s, so you should watch it.
Yeah, I guess it's going on the list now, huh? I got to watch a film about Kevin Spacey being attracted to a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, it's something stranger than fiction, right?
Oh, God.
Kevin Spacey, he could never. Why have you never seen it? I'm kind of surprised.
I don't know.
It feels intentional. You love movies from 1999, like
it wasn't
it's
intentional.
one of the 1999 classics.
All I know about that film is that it has the shot of the plastic bag rolling in the wind.
The bag.
That was parodied in Family Guy.
There's a Family Guy line about that, isn't that? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I just knew it was about a middle-aged man who lusts after a teenage girl, and I think I just never. It just slipped my mind. It didn't grab me the way that a 90s film like The Matrix did.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to enjoy it, so I'm glad you're going to watch it. I'm certainly going to watch Nocturnal Animals. It sounds awesome. So it's going right to the top of my like Mike Back at You recommendations from the pod list.
I mean, I'm excited to hear what you think of it. And I honestly am due for a rewatch because it's been a couple of years and I don't remember it super well, but I liked it a lot.
Maybe we should watch it together. I think that would be
fun.
nice. We can record a little all mic'd up episode about it afterward, like a nice 15 or 20 minute discussion. That could be fun.
It could be fun, but it is possible that we'll want to watch whatever film we roll next together.
Yeah, I guess. Do you know something I don't?
No, I'm just saying there's a potential.
We already rolled?
No, we haven't rolled. No, I'm just saying.
We've never wanted to watch. Yeah, I mean, I guess we've watched 3 of them together. I feel like the likelihood of that happening is exceptionally low. Yeah, maybe we will, but fucking probably not.
Yeah.
Whereas I know I would like to watch this one with you.
That's fair.
God willing, we will roll one we want to watch together. I would love to roll a movie that I'm actually excited to watch. And so with that, let's go over to our next segment, The Roll. Mike, what are you hoping for today, buddy?
Well, I have an announcement at the top of this segment. We received
such a weird setup for this. Maybe we'll want to watch it together.
I don't know. Maybe we will.
I didn't know if we'd already rolled and I memory hold it or something.
I'm just saying maybe whatever. I have an announcement. Friend of the pod, Andrew, shared some helpful feedback with us. That I took action on because I care about this podcast. He said he missed because we removed all of the films we'd already rolled a few weeks back. And so with that, we lost the position in the filmography for each of these films. So I went back, I updated the sheet. So when we roll, we have the number of the roll, but then we will also be able to check the position.
The number it is. That was a good idea.
Yes. So
that was good feedback. Thanks, Andrew. Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. There are 2 films that I would be happy to roll this week. One, of course, is number 60, Silver Linings Playbook.
Easy.
But the other option that I would be open to is number 67, a film called Hands of Stone. And I think it would be really fun to have 2 stone-related films back to back.
Yeah, man. You think we'd be happy if we rolled a 2016 that I've never heard of?
I think we're going to start the Stone Cinematic Universe, the SCU.
Yeah. I mean, I guess as far as stuff around 2016, it's reasonably enticing to me. I'm not looking forward to rolling Joker or The Irishman.
No.
So.
And with that, I'm about to roll. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready, baby. Okay.
I'm rolling now. And I rolled so close, but so far. I rolled that's a repeat. There are so few that we could hit that we've already gotten. I rolled 54, which is Killer Elite. So, okay, I'm rolling again now. Wow, it doesn't get much closer than this. I rolled 68, the 2016 film, The Comedian. Here's the thing about The Comedian. I know you've never watched this. There's no way. I've also never watched it, but I'm pretty sure the Flophouse podcast did an episode about this film. The Flophouse, which is a podcast solely devoted to discussing bad films. So that doesn't bode well for us. This is an American comedy drama film directed by Taylor Hackford and written by Louis Friedman and 3 other people. And it stars Robert De Niro, Leslie Mann, Danny DeVito, Edie Falco, Veronica Ferres, Charles Grodin, Cloris Leachman, Patti LuPone, Greer Barnes, and Harvey Keitel. Really interesting reunion.
It's a pretty incredible cast. There's a lot of comedians in it too, playing themselves. Hannibal Buress is in it. Gilbert Gottfried's in it. Billy Crystal's in it. It's kind of amazing that it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, it's a real shame that it has a 40 out of 100 on Metacritic, but we will be back next week to discuss it.
We certainly will be. You couldn't have rolled Silver Linings Playbook?
I don't know what you want from me.
You couldn't have just lied? You couldn't have just lied and said you rolled 60?
I wasn't hearing God's tuning fork. That's why I rolled a 68 instead of a 67.
Yeah, I guess so. I could have even honestly preferred 69. And just get Joker over with. All right. And with that, I'd like to thank you, my co-host Mike, for being here with me this week to watch this beautiful film.
My pleasure.
I would like to thank you, loyal citizens of De Niro Nation, and I would like to thank my lovely wife, Caroline, aka Bad Cree, for making our podcast beautiful artwork. I would like to invite you to follow and rate us on your podcast listening platform of choice. 5 stars only, please. We really, 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 really need this. And write us about literally anything at ourherodeniro@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, as Mike alluded to earlier, at ourherodeniro is our handle. And I hope you'll follow Mike and I on Letterboxd. He is Mike Back at You, and I am Mike the Fab. And certainly really hope you'll join us next week as we discuss the 2016 film The Comedian, starring Robert De Niro.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.